Welcome back to part 4. I hope you're still with me here, and I hope that the part 3 was very useful, because that was where we put all of our knowledge together. The whole and half step pattern of the major scale. We know where key signatures come from, you know where sharps and flats come from, hopefully. You also know where the chords come from and how they're related to the scale. That 1-3-5 idea, building up major chords and minor chords, and then there was a pattern. That pattern allowed us to do the little puzzle system. All the hard work for you guys is now done in the first 3 parts. All we got to do now is apply those same principles to more and more advanced concepts. It's as easy as that. Next thing we're going to cover in this part 4 is looking at different chords, because not always are you going to get the same chord progression that just has major, minor and the odd diminished chord thrown in. You might get a chord that looks a little bit like this and sounds a little bit like this. Something like that. That's an E minor 7th chord, if you didn't know already that shape. 7th chords. Where do they come from? This is what this part is hopefully going to just go into here. Now I hope you haven't skipped over the first 3 parts. If you have, go over to my website www.rexpearson.com and check out the first 3 parts. Otherwise you might get a little bit lost, and you should check out the website. Alright, it's the same principle as when we came up with the major and minor chords. If we took C major, first scale that we ever learned, and we played the, let's play the scale. C major, okay, and then we did the 1st, 3rd and the 5th. We skip the 2nd note, 3rd, skip the 4th note, 5th. Those 3 notes, C, E and G, when we apply them and play them at the same time, we've got a C major chord. All we've got to do is add a 7th note on top of that. It's as simple as that. If we take the 1st, the 3rd, the 5th, and then we take the 7th note of the scale each time, we're going to build up what we call the 7th chords. This makes sense because it's in the name. This is what we do. First, miss out the 2nd, and miss out the 4th, 5th, miss out the 6th, and then the 7th. We've got those 4 notes now make up a chord. If we stack them all together, we've got a C major 7th chord sound. Now you wouldn't use that shape. I'm just doing that to demonstrate it across each string. You would take those 4 notes and randomly stack them. As long as you can hear those 4 notes together, you've got a major 7th sound. For C, just take the 1st finger off. Beautiful C major 7. Now remember, it's a major because of that 3rd interval. If it looks like that, it's a major 3rd. If it looks like that, it's a minor 3rd. Major and minor. The 2nd chord then, of a C major, we knew was a minor, and we built up this chord, D minor. Let's take the 7th chord. Now remember, don't play a D major scale and take the 7th note. We're in the key of C major, so you need to play C major. But start on the 2nd note and play up to get the 3rd, 5th and the 7th. 1, miss the 2nd, 3rd, miss the 4th, 5, miss the 6th, and then the 7th. We've got 4 notes there. When you stack them together in various combinations, you'll have what we call a minor 7th chord. Now, the minor 7th, just like there was a slight difference between a major and a minor, there's a difference between the major 7th and the minor 7th, and it's all down to that 7th interval. I'm going to briefly cover it, but you don't need to actually know this for the puzzle system with 7th chords. This is just for those who want that little bit of extra, just to understand where that 7th chord comes from. If we look at the major 7th from C, it's an interval that looks like that. Have a look at this hand. It's 1 fret gap and it's across 2 strings. If we look at the D minor, 7, The 7th interval looks like that. It's on the same fret. So just like there was a difference between the major third and minor third, there's now this difference between a major 7th and a minor 7th. So when you're working out your chords, if you see a shape like that when you've got your 7th, it's a major 7th of some kind, or it's a 7th of some kind. Check the third to make sure it's major. And then if it's a shape like that on your 7th, it's a minor 7th. Don't worry about that if that's gone over your head, it doesn't really matter. What we're going to look at now is the 7th chords that come from the scale now. Not the triads, but the 7th chords. The first one in the key of major is a major 7, C major, in the key of C major. The second chord we just worked out was a minor 7. That's just a way that you can play the minor 7th chords. You can find any chord dictionary if you want to learn these chords, or post a lesson suggestion on the website, rexpearson.com, if you want me to cover chords. And if I get enough requests, then I'll make sure that it gets done. What we need to do then is have a look at the rest of the chords. We've got a third chord is a minor 7. The fourth chord is a major 7. Now the fifth chord we call a dominant 7. Now that's because it mixes two different chord types. It mixes a major chord and it mixes a minor chord at the same time. In as far as it's got a major third, but it's got that minor 7th from the minor, where it's on the same fret. When you play a major third and a minor 7th, we get this interesting sound that's called a dominant chord. It's a very important chord. You will have seen it very often. It's written as just the letter with a giant 7 next to it. That's the fifth chord of a 7th chord scale. The sixth chord is going to be a minor 7th again. And the 7th chord, which used to be diminished when we were doing triads, has now changed slightly. It's a minor 7 with a flat 5. That's what we call it, minor 7, flat 5. If we take B, I'll just demonstrate it, and we go up our 1, 3, 5, we made a diminished chord, which sounded like, it had that lowered 5th and it also had that lowered 3rd. It also has, if we were to do the 7th, a minor 7th. So you would have diminished and then a minor 7th on top. When you get a diminished chord with just a minor 7th, we call it a minor 7 with the flat 5. It's just the easiest way of describing it. Don't let the name put you off. Just learn a couple of shapes for them and you'll be away with them. Okay, so we've got the 7th chords from C major. We've got a pattern emerging here. We've got C major 7, second chord is a minor 7, major 7, fifth chord is a dominant 7, sixth chord is a minor 7, and then we've got the minor 7 flat 5 for the 7th chord. That gives you a lot more options when you're improvising, and just generally when you're coming across minor 7th chords, you can now see where it's going. Now, with the Rex Pearson lessons, the future is down to you guys. If you enjoy these lessons and you want to keep them free, don't forget to share. It only takes a minute to click on the like button on the website, to make a comment or share the video on your Facebook page. Anything you can do to keep this sort of service free.